Health Minute is brought to you by St. Francis Health. We listen, we heal.
And welcome back. Well, it is National Stop the Bleed Day, and experts say knowing how to stop it could save lives. Mandy Gaither reports.
It's the #1 preventable cause of death after traumatic injury.
Once an injury occurs and bleeding begins, the clock starts, and the sooner we can get that bleeding stopped, the more likely it is that a patient is going to survive.
Recognizing life-threatening bleeding and acting quickly and effectively is critical. Knowing what to do before an emergency can mean the difference between life and death, says Dr. Kinji Inaba with the American College of Surgeons Stop the Bleed Committee.
For anybody that does not have a medical background, it can be a stressful situation, but learning these techniques ahead of time really can prepare you.
In an emergency, when there's excessive bleeding, Inaba says to first call 911 so help can be on the way. Next, make sure the scene is safe to intervene. Then he says there are 3 ways to stop bleeding: putting direct pressure on the wound, if the wound area is large, packing the wound, or applying a tourniquet to a limb that's bleeding. You can learn these techniques in a free Stop the Bleed interactive course at stopthebleed.org.
It gives you some techniques that you can directly rely upon, that you can rest upon, that you can apply immediately. And I think that truly makes a difference in how you respond to an emergency incident.
For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.